Hello? Here.
Okay. Why dollar dollars no passive gate at Tam Jin Jimbo but Jubal Zibo Tom Jija doors Manam Gata Nyambe Simjin Tam Jidewa Dan Den Donga Dan Yudula Namiba Yang Dabar Zobe Sanjo Rambo
All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will I establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood.
Why did the Sama Jeja Batalangai Songevala go? My Batalangai Songevala go. Tuterana Zondanya Mazanda Tamja Batalangai Songevala go.
Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind.
Why Sanje Judan Sojin Junum Lo Sanjo Pada Dane Jasunja Dage Jinso Jibe Sonamja Dola Pinsa Sanje Dobar
In the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
Saya Baju Soyan Medu Don Ren Yen Jembanda Sanje Shenla Megde Purvaya Ruko Nanda Shenda Jawa
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and the moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields.
Om Guran Devanda Gana Rana Mandala Padita Sova Simjin Namje Zambada Loye Seda Jadawa Jajang Temon Tibaya Jajang Holo Godo So
Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings.
No longer on the Roman Judean Japorana, the Sanja Kunjamo, Sanja, but then the Valamoro Boja Dagajo, the Madagona Karan Jimagona, Santa General, Susundama, Dumbonon Janun Toto. Kajidele Tangaran to prepare teaching things about it. Koni Takatan, Mundo Cote, Mundo Ramba, Yenta things in Namsamba. Tanguya, but not to Jerango call it to the Yoruba. Paper to come here.
So this is now our 3rd time for the Vajrakilaya teachings, our 3rd Vajrakilaya teaching. And last time we spoke about the preliminary practices in stages, and also and up until the 3 samadhis. And now we have come to the main part of the practice, which is the generation stage. So we talked about that before too.
Tini kachan tuyan koma ka nana mira torsong sanab ka kola labdi ta ngacho namje tona si yo mari mato ninte chamsa ka nu jing duwa te koran la ti mikpa si ju ka ramban ra wo te koran la chang de yo re nge chi dong ge yin de
So during our last session, we also discussed the consecration of the Amrita Rakta and Dorma. And so normally we don't really maybe pay too much attention to what we are reciting, but actually when we are arranging the vessel wherein we are offering the Amrita, there are a few lines of visualization that we should actually do at that time. So Gapalama is going to recite those lines.
mari da ngen de ting ge yin la ge yin ba
Oh, sorry. He will show it.
de to
You see? Yeah, that also.
ngacho namje de re wa mi de ne re wa de kachan ngacho de long ge jing ko la re wa long ge jing ko de long ge jing ko la re te dagam yeb dagam tene me jing ko ra re ma po truk sam la re de dagam de len do wa truk sam de len do wa tene te ga la mo go sam ge je po den de la re wa den de na yo re ngone sen ngacho nam ju te aso to na se ma to te ka la ka pa la re wa den de wa
So look at this. If you can see the image of Kapilama holding the Kapala. So the other day we spoke about first the wind mandala, which is the shape of a bow, like a half circle shape, which is on the bottom here. He was just pointing at it. And then on top of that is a triangular red fire mandala, which is now is pointing at it, I think. And then on top of that is the hearth of human skulls, which is that part. And then on top of that, we then place the actual kapala, the skull cup.
tong so
Everybody see it?
everybody
I think so. I see it.
Yes.
yeah tan de la ta na tene me pa si ta ha ko de na lo la tene cha nga do chen nga yo re wa
So if you look at this image and you know how to, can you hear me? How to visualize. And then inside of that are the 5 meats and the 5 nectars.
o ta nga zo ngo ye le ba re ngo ye te ta ta te sho dan ye na sho dan chu pa gen jok na ando
So then we come to the main part of the
Kodo
practice. Kodo. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, you guys?
I can hear
Yes,
you.
Ina, we can hear you.
Yes? Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
we can
good.
hear you.
Okay, so then we come to the main part of the practice, which in the Chinese sadhana is at the end of page 10, and in English is on page 12. Ngaji kogde.
tan de na de na wo po na to ya ye kang ting na tru son ba we jing ko na tu ru je je ko wo yi xi me pong ba wo long la na ma la ken do wa ta te ge tu don da pe do du po ji ma to chik se de do.
Hello? There's something going on.
Ko song
Ko so nga ko dok ha ko so chen do do ina nga ko kran ki nga ko dok.
internet ya ko yo sa ma ta ta.
Something wrong with the internet today? I don't know. The here is fine, I think. It's on, I don't know. Let me see.
Ya ta ta ma lo da che ya de ma ji lo da.
So it begins with generating the commitment being. So it's very brief here. So it says here, Hong, the manifold immeasurable palace appears. Within the mandala, a blazing dark blue triangle, the 8 great channel grounds enclose a vast expanse of wrathful wisdom fire within which appears the immeasurable palace created from the self-display of primordial wisdom. Sama logore?
Ta te den de ma lo ba zam ji dong da ding to ko yo ma re. Din na dong da pe mang bo o dun da wo se ya yo le dong da ding to ko yo ma re. Pe na ta ta chai dang bo na ngo bo na cho ya ye kang se ju de ke ta ji dang ke jirang ke je se no ye na re nam ju ye na re je na wa cha ma je ta ma ba ta ta na yin ma yin ba je da bu ge na la dang ya ye kang ge na yin le da go re se ne ta dom chai ke ri ti chai dang bo de na de ta me kwa se ne me sa sa ju yo ma re de ne je ko wa ling go yo.
So, for example, in the beginning, when you read the generation stage, actually, it only by reading these words, there's actually so much meaning in it, and the words are not many. So, therefore, just the words themselves actually do not, maybe don't make it really clear the entire meaning behind it. For example, just this one first line, the manifold immeasurable palace appears. Or manifold appearances are the immeasurable palace. So manifold appearances are the immeasurable palace. Just this alone shows us, for example, that the entire outer universe and all beings, all appearances are not ordinary, but they are pure, and they are the deities and the boundless palace, the mandala of the deity. This is how we should view them. And that's actually not really apparent when we just read that line.
Ta ti ji ni tin na tu san ba we jing ko zo ji te ta nga zo ke ji ren ba yong wa ren zhe ni zo ya la cha san gom sa ke dong cha je yo ra de chum jong la gun do wa o ta te gong go yo re la ge ta te gan de gong go yo re sin na kha san teng en zhen na ba song na ni nga zo ju yi teng en zhen sa won ji la de ne de ni la ta ya kan ya gong go yo wa o ta dang bo te la ti chum jong ke sa won te la a de na da na is 이게 에레 남카 추진종네 다 춤종 대양 마제 차오레 되와 야카 젠보레 되와 자완 차와 진도 소긴 덴카 제와 지 말이 자완 차완 톨도 소긴 덴카 제와 진도 딘바세네 덴데레 되와 다 송고가 나로 되는 공고 요래다 가장 송고를 바 망보 요와 디 나로 되는 춤종 그 제데마 송고근 털드나 속 되와세 되네 춤종의 카드야 송고가 나로라 다 송고 그 세장아 송고 배 자전부 공고라 송고 그 세장아 다 춤종 그야 카드를 되와세네 되네 춤종 배 자전부 공고 제도가
So then the next, oh yeah, yeah.
이나 독성이 되더라고요.
So then next in the sadhana it says, within the mandala, a blazing dark blue triangle, and so forth. So just this alone tells us actually that we are supposed to meditate on, visualize the Dharmodaya, which is this tetrahedron, the source of all phenomena. And so it explains, actually also within that included is how it all arises from the elements, which one by one appear. And then we visualize the Dharmodaya. And so also the other day we mentioned those 3 samadhis. So that is then referring to the samadhi of the seed of the cause. So from the seed we have said the deity and the boundless palace all emerge. And so here the Dharmodaya seed is the syllable A. And so first this A appears, and then it transforms. This A transforms into this Dharmodaya, this 3-dimensional triangular Dharmodaya of space, with its wide part up and its tip facing down. So it extends throughout the bottom half of the space inside of the protection sphere. So this is to be visualized all inside of the protection sphere. And the bottom part, the broad part is extending upward, while the point is pointing downward. And so this is how we need to visualize the Dharmodaya. And so we mentioned the other day the different stages of visualization of the protection sphere. So this is all inside. And we have said the protection sphere needs to be visualized as really vast and spacious. And so similarly, this 3-dimensional triangular Dharmodaya also must be visualized as vast and spacious. So yeah, so this is the meaning of the all this entire meaning is included within just this line, a blazing dark blue triangle.
다티 중용게 나로드네 담보 얌 세네 그 롱진 코스 드니 라스네 그 차다 얌소 쳐요 롱당 쳐다 매데다나다 공고 사마리 제당 용화 이제 rem바 인데 매 공고로 왔대 다다 텔라 매 공고 사마리 롱 드니 라 텔레 다 쳐그 잡라 차그 잠소 데니티 강강데네 사그 잡라 샤친지 사이 샤이란 인인바그 사이 대선야 rem바인데 다 직토로 직선에 야산데 모두 담보
And so then inside of this Dharmodaya, then first appears the syllable yam, and it transforms into a wind mandala, a wind. And then there appears the syllable ja, which transforms into an ocean of blood to represent water. So normally we do visualize the 4 elements, but here we actually do not. The fire element is not mentioned here, so we don't visualize that here. So we have wind, and then we have water, which is represented by an ocean of blood. And the next is the earth element, which is represented by a mountain of great flesh.
어디 사원도 어디 숨 린도가 숨래 샤친지 사이어스 데니티 간타나다 켄세네 잉도 텔레 데니타 르파크로 르바랑 잉거라 르바랑 잉거라테 다 바람 예요바 옙족선레 옙족선 코 바람 예요바 바람 데르마 인도 제체라 손데 봐 담보 좀 니바데 텔레전 체선 제당가서 바람데 르바긴도 파초는 로르와 예난데 바람데 르바긴도 저자 체르 가도라 lep그 저자 체르신데 바가 네 옙족선 인바지라 바람 르바 예지 다데 르브랑 인거 랍 던데지 공부 텔레 랍스요
And so this is sorry, the human flesh. This ground of human flesh arises from the syllable sum, and then next from the syllable gem. The syllable gem becomes transforms into a Mount Meru made of bones, and this Mount Meru made of bones has 3 sides, so its shape is triangular, and it has 4 levels. And the higher levels are larger than the lower ones. So it begins, starting from the lower ones, it begins with the lower one, the smaller one, and then it gets bigger and bigger. So normally it would be the other way around, right? You would start with larger and then get smaller and smaller as you go up in levels. But this one begins with smaller and actually gets bigger. And so its shape is triangular. And that is the Mount Meru made of bones.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me? Something is your connection, I'm suspecting.
Lapsa imba.
Oh, lapsa, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dati param yede ramba yinde cheche le pando yo ba ke jimse de kar da sina orang ti chumbyong ti yepte na ye chade yorwa zawa man chao ri ramba yinde ya kal le ke chete le ka cheche le son yorwa ti yem do sen ne rubu rapte ten se ti gang de na ti gang de ne doje phalam je ra yin ta ta chare do doje phalam ka ra yin ka chare yo de ba Ti tentana ta mem yep truksum se na chungyong ga yep se na mem bar dewa yep truksum se na mem bar dewa me ga na lo tene me de ta truksum ro ti na lo tene dodje ga rawa se dombo se na ko se na ko dewa me ta dodje ga rawa te nin thotse chi kwan ra wo che tende chi san de re song
So then the reason why the 4 levels of this triangular Mount Meru, this mountain, is starting with a smaller level and then becoming increasingly bigger, is because the Dharmodaya itself, the shape of the Dharmodaya itself is just like that. So the Dharmodaya also has its more narrow part, its tip on the bottom, and then it becomes wider as it moves to the top. So it resembles, this mountain basically resembles the shape of the Dharmodaya. So that's the mountain of bones. And so then above that is, I guess, surface of a diamond, like Vajra rock or diamond can rock. And on top of that, then appears a triangular fire mandala, also the shape of the Dharmodaya, that is blazing with fire. And inside of that fire, there is a round Vajra fence enclosure. And so the Vajra fence enclosure and the fire are of the same height.
Tati me pong de tang doji ga rawa te ni kan thomin de ti na lo la ngarang ga yaye kan ka che gomba te sumcha ti la le pa chan ta yaye kan ka che thomin ngarang gong gu yo na ya ti ke sumcha che chu la le pa chan thomin
And then, so however large one visualizes the entire palace, so the fire masses and the Vajra fence enclosure, which are of the same height, reach up to 1/3 of the area of the total height of the palace.
So yen san ye tala ta tu tu chimbo je se ju te tende sen ni yore tene ti tu tu chimbo je kana lo te ta ta re ya te sa an to de yore ya bendo ya ye ta chi sen te sa ta re se de yang re zhen no po tende ma re da ya te sen bor de wa ka ta tende je sang go yore ti gang tene ta do de jaram na cho do je se ta sha ka lo se no ma sa ang jang jing ge do je yu wa tende ke na cho do je ke na cho do je ke te wa te zhi bie de zhi bie pe ja che che yang wa ro na cho te do je ke te wa te zhi bie ta ti gang tene ya ya gang ta na gong go yo
Doji gajan di kato daminda yorwa, do daminda. Tine soyin ba.
na cho do je se do ye yo ro do je ya
Oh yeah. Yeah. Tine teva la kapora.
te wa te ta ka po ja ma re te wa te ta
Ale.
ta re la yin pa te
Ore.
bendo ya ta chi
And so then inside of this Vajra fence, which is round, right? And a round Vajra fence enclosure. Inside of that is a multicolored lotus flower. So just the shape of a lotus flower. And the center of that lotus flower is a ground of sapphire. And then, and this is surrounded by the 8 channel grounds. So in the for cardinal and for intermediate, the 8 directions, there are the 8 channel grounds. And inside of these channel grounds, there is a slightly elevated rock. So it is a little bit higher than the rest of the visualization. And then on top of that so in the center of that rock, there is a crossed Vajra. So the rock is made of lapis lazuli. And then on top of that, there is a crossed Vajra in 4 colors pointing in the directions. And then the center of that Vajra is square shaped, and it is really vast and spacious. And then on top of that square shaped center, that is where the palace, the boundless palace, then appears.
ta ya ye kan gong pe ngo ni ti ya ye kan ge ti sang ye ge drum se je te ri do ye ge drum ji san te ni te ne je ne ya ye kan ta te ne ya ye kan te ni zhe ye go ye ta nga ran zo nam ji de jing ko pa na ne ji de yo re te na yi jing ko lu lang we zu ya ba kap su yo re yi na yi jing ko gen chen yi te na mang bo here you read ta kanta na ya drobye go ye de ne te la ya ye kanta la ngone sen sana ramba ni yong go yo se de hewa kan na ba hewa ya ye ka nang de trago ge number sen ne tuba number samje nang ge yaye kan de ne dombo ri ya nang de tuba number samje ze ya trago yaye ka tuba number na mongo gambo lunba ye se ning de wa den zhe ge re samje ze ya ba ge ne yaye kan dombo se yaye kan xie wei yaye kan da nang trago ge yaye kan ni paro de cha ge cham ri de wa den zhe ji gong go de wa
So actually, before we visualize the immeasurable, the boundless palace, we visualize the syllable, the seed syllable broom, which then transforms into the immeasurable palace. And then the immeasurable palace has 4 sides. So it has it's square shaped, and it has 4 gateways, 4 entrances. So we can picture it just like we have seen a mandala on an image, on a picture, or sometimes we also actually create a mandala. So there are many characteristics generally that a mandala possesses. So in any case, this mandala has 4 sides and 4 gateways. And also there is an outer and an inner level to the mandala. The outer immeasurable palace is peaceful, while the inner immeasurable palace is the wrathful one. And within that, within the wrathful, on the inner level, there are 3 human skulls, which support like this round, immeasurable palace, which is wrathful. So it's standing on these 4 skulls, which are dry, wet, and or fresh and slightly rotten. So you have the outer palace, the inner palace, and in between the outer and the inner palace, there is a courtyard filled with blood.
se yaye kan de xie wa ge yaye kan de jo ren bo je na zo le zhe de ba den de ren do teni nang de ta ta la pa na yi teni ti zha bu yaye kan ge nang lo de la dang bo de la ko lo zhe bi ye jin je ti se de nang ko lo zhe je jin je den de ge din je yong go yo re dang ko lo zhe je ge gang de na cho wo je 参马卡亚乌了觉得真的是，电脑那个这一个刚才那三票一，第二看难了觉得吧，等你电脑那的大型就做的那广告有马来过，不是说做的那广告有了，不是说公司个啥家的样的竹笋，哎是个多啊，真的是呢，所有生把这个难了，等你不把多节用的那广告，多节用的要不要？ 다데 담보 텐데지 람나 티니 곰단 레전드 십차 아니 메말 라비오.
So we have said the outer palace is peaceful, and the peaceful palace is made of various precious jewels or substances. And then the inner palace is the wrathful one we just mentioned. And so then inside of the wrathful palace, so on the innermost and the innermost part of the palace, there is first a wheel with 4 spokes, and then there's a wheel with 10 spokes. First, so in the celestial palace, first you have the 10 spokes, the 10 spoked wheel, and on each of the 10 spokes is one of the 10 wrathful ones. So the 10 wrathful ones are on those 10 spokes, and they are all looking inside, so towards the center. And then within that 10-spoked wheel is a 4-spoked wheel. There's 4 spokes, and on those 4 spokes are the 4 supreme suns, which are also facing inward. And then inside of that, at the center of that, we visualize the triangular ground risen from A, and within that we visualize the principal deity Vajrakilaya or Vajrakumara with his consort. So just visualize that for now, and then I'll continue to go through the other stages of visualization.
고도
Kodok.
아니 다티 다다 우다나 다 담보 프로바 조 공고 요로와 텔라 딘 페마 다 다와 니마게 딘라 데니 샴니 드 이야가 남바 데니 텐데스나 샴네 요바 디 강라 담보 이게 홍트나 제 공고도와 홍보 제 홍보 바바 제 공. Tene te ne jone ta doje jono jono yore. Tene manjoba ngone ta ozo top de namjo nga so la gombo ka se go. Te chikwa re sha. Ozo nchu sanje ta sanje samba tamje. Ni pen ju ba per selap num to tamje ozo je namba se ne chon du on la tem. Yang ozo nchu ne senjin tamje je de pa yang. Te chawe je to hongye de ne jote. Dani doje jono. 다 홍예 등문에서는 디갑선이 랑그 샘징고 홍예가 남바 인도스는 차송하지 린도와 드네 홍예 드네 ਜੋ 갑서 홍예 드네 존 도제 용 갑서 다 나랑 도제 용 다니 도제 용 당한테 어느 예가는 마지로 요인다 저런 예가는 자섬 사조 샤 비여단된 봐 공동 등나 면도야다 서버 샤 예가用马问听那进顺顺当定型，就出去切节几斤吧。啥也就当不多的这个难快乐啥吧，把别多的这样定吧。用当不定这就真的面吧，把别卡张关真吧。他们你就是让就不脱个知哇，多的大人不去，学吧也用难快开发生的，这就。下也更用中山讲我的节到达这的一些件没风把我老呢有瓜子。
So at the center of this, we visualize Vajrakilaya on a seat of lotus, moon, and sun, and a throne or cushion of 4 maras entwined. And then on top of that is the blue syllable Hong, blazing with light. And then it's that Hong that transforms into the deity. But before that, as we usually visualize when we practice a deity, light rays radiate and then gather back. So here also first light rays emanate and they make offerings to the light, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And then the light then collects their blessings and power, which is then gathered back in the form of light rays, which then dissolve into the Hung syllable. And then again, light rays emanate and purify the obscurations of all sentient beings and all the negativities. And then the Hung syllable transforms into Vajrakilaya, yourself, you appearing as Vajrakilaya, Vajrakumara. And so this Hung syllable, what it represents is actually the essence, the nature of your own mind. So then it's the essence of your own mind, which then transforms into yourself, appearing as Vajrakumara. And so then you appear as great, glorious Vajrakumara with 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 feet. He appears luminous dark blue in color like lapis lazuli, has His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is dark blue. He has 3 eyes and is adorned by the 8 types of charnel ground ornaments. His upper right hand is wielding a 9-pointed Vajra in space. His middle right hand is brandishing a 5-pointed Vajra. His upper left hand is making the threatening mudra, and at the tip of his finger, fire blazes. His middle and left hand is holding a Khatvanga trident. His lower 2 hands are rolling a Mount Meru Kilaya at the level of his heart center. He has wings made of Vajra jewels on his right and left spreading out into the sky. Of his 4 legs, the right ones are bent in and his left are extended as he stands in a heroic pose. I think until here, Kavilama read, right? Shab Bartu Songimba?
근데 아,
Oh, Shab Bartu
잘해.
Songimba. Shab Tipartu Longba.
그래.
Shabin. Right.
그래. 근데 도대 요는 다 쇼바야 요러와. 네. 도제당. 어 rinpoche shokpa ye yung je namka khet yo tawa sen. Tende si yung de ba. Tene ta te doje yung te tawa ji gomsa ta thoka te la chongor tawa hu marpo ko gorje. Te nang te nyede din la si. Ta yishi senpa tengna chun gangwa xiar je sa ni je thoka la purje de wa tang tende je gongores. Ti thoka la nyema din la serje dorje nende zamje. Tewa la nyede din yongzhe ma ne lep yapa zamje uso hong hong bu buke tripa zamje tala kala yan rogo lak thap je kor dewa je gongo gore song yore.
So, Vajrakilaya has wings, and they are made of jewels, and jewels, Vajras and jewels left and right, and spread out into the sky. And then at the heart center, inside an agate-like sphere, on a sun and moon disk is the primordial wisdom being. He is dark blue in color, the size of a thumb's width. He has 1 face and 2 hands, rolling a kilaya at his heart center. Within his heart center, upon a seat of the sun and moon, is a golden vajra, the size of a barley grain. In the middle of that vajra is a sun and moon disk seed, the size of a mustard seed. In the center of that is a blue hung syllable, the size as if drawn with a hair. Around it, the 9 syllables of Kilaya circle in the way they are recited.
Kula yan go sena om banzar ke la ya hong pei ndre ri. Te ta wan go te ko de wa. Ti pang de yong ko lo jian de ma gong don ting jia xia de jie sa ni ye bar jie bei ya jing gon ne chu ba. Yong tu cha ya ji xia de do ba. Zi ba ji xiang ta jin xia ye 야단 린지의 장신 용 야지 깨란 저와 근데 제 상구도와
The 9 syllables of Kilaya are Vajrakili Kilaya Hung Pet. And then upon his lap is Vajrakilaya is the mother Kologidema, and she is light blue in color with 1 face and 2 hands. Her right hand holds an utpala, lotus flower, and embraces the father by his neck. Her left hand holds a skull cup filled with blood that she offers to the father's lips. And then she wears a leopard skin skirt. Her right leg is extended out with the father's, and her left embraces the father around his waist.
다 Ti so yela kolo zeb yega tendo shado banzar kala yas yar som sa tro yar ye gar yomar un tena sa ni ye ni na dorje tang kolon zende ba yo ni na ja gyo tang sha kwa tama ni ji purpa de ba lor rena kala ya yar som sa tro yar ye gar yomar u serwa 사 예년의 럼보제단 자다 요년 토차당 야과 다만이지 불 다 금에 된 남자가 불바 서울선 받은 데 자도를 센초를 이제 당보되니 람나
So then, in the four directions on those four spokes of the wheel are the four Kilaya deities of the four families. In the east is Vajrakilaya with 3 faces and 6 hands. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is dark blue. His 2 upper right hands hold a vajra and wheel. His 2 upper left hands hold an iron hook and a lasso. His 2 lower hands roll a kilaya. In the south is Ratna Kilaya with 3 faces and 6 hands. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is yellow. His 2 upper right hands hold a jewel and an axe. His 2 upper left hands hold a skull cup filled with blood and a lasso. His 2 lower hands hold a kilaya. So basically, the how they are looking like is the lower parts of their bodies is like a spike, a purple a spike made of meteoric iron.
뭐야 너도 빼마 깔아야 샤르손 사조 샤예 갈 용모 우마라스 사 예니나 빼마당 라데 요니나 벤다당 자죠 자조 사니 불반전바 나도 karma kalaya 샤르섬 사조 샤예 갈 용마 우장와 예 투역 요니나 매봉당 저거 타마니게 불반전바 예강 오장 감나 토족당 ringé wo jinba ko lo tu chu ji che je ji jinba ko me nam ja ji pu ru so san me cha san cho ko jin den de je sen cho yi.
The next is in the west is Padma Kilaya with 3 faces and 6 hands. His right face is white, his left face is blue, and his main face is red. His 2 upper right hands hold a lotus and sword. His 2 upper left hands hold a skull cup and iron chains. His 2 lower hands hold a kilayam. Then in the north is Karma Kilayam with 3 faces and 6 hands. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is green. His 2 upper right hands hold a Vajra cross and a skull mace. His 2 upper left hands hold a mass of fire and bell. His 2 lower hands roll a kilayam. For all 4 of them, they have dark brown hair bound up in a top knot and a crown of the 5 families. Their bodies are adorned by the 8 types of charnel ground ornaments. The bottom part of their bodies is an iron 3-sided kilaya emanating sparks of wrathful forms.
Di sero la tang ko lo zip jo yo wa di gang la chu jo yo ba da di nge ma xi cha la yong ge ga re sen na ka zang song ko ge gap se yang chu jo de yo ra wa chu jo de gan de je yo zhe le yong ge do teni nga so yang zubo ke nga rang ge zubo ge ne jo la yang chu jo bong go sa yo wa di gap se di chu jo de da ge jin cha lo da de zo cha zang a de na ji ba de wa den de ne chu jo de da ma ji rinpa yin de xie cha sen de la yong ge yin
This was the 4 spokes, and then outside of that are the 10 spokes, and on the 10 spokes are the 10 wrathful ones. And I'm going to explain these in more detail now, because also the other day we mentioned the 10 wrathful ones when visualizing the protection sphere. And so a question arose that like where really are, how really are those 10 wrathful ones? So then also actually we visualize these 10 wrathful ones on 10 places on our bodies, and their appearance, their physical appearance and their ornaments and so on, their implements, they are always the same. It's the same 10 wrathful ones. So now I'm going to explain those 10 wrathful ones in a bit more detail.
Tela Shaso con col Tentela Trovo, Hongara la Goritela. Hongara tela Kundo Mompo, Sharsum Sa Tro, Shab Yede de Ba. Yar Ye Ser, Yung Mo, Yung Momar, Marico, Yung Mar, Wu Mompo, Sa Tro, Tangbo Ni Jenda Tang Yo, Barbe Purpatan Jakyo, Tamani Purvan Zimba, Tamani Purvatan is Tokala Zondeva. Yum Dorje Damjima, Kumdo Moja, and Nyambur Jordevas. Tati Trovo Rike Yona Tantam Ninis in a Yore. Ti Yon to Turba, Patan, Moving Goji, Kumdo Humbo, Nika, or Tatin Reje, Tambotelana.
First, the first wrathful one is Humkara, who is on the spoke in the eastern direction. So starting east, first there is blue Humkara. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is yellow, his left face is red, and his main face is blue. His upper hands hold an arrow and bow. His middle hands hold a gilayam and iron hook. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya, which is held at the heart level. And he's in union with the mother Dorje Dajinma, who is light blue in color. And to the right and left are 2 emanations. So to the left and right, next to each of those 10 wrathful ones, there are 2 emanations, like animal-headed emanations. So one has a pig head and the other has a lizard head, and they're both blue in color.
Tate Rambai into Yekorjan Rorida. Nipatela Tro number Jarwas, Kondo Carbori, Shar Sum Sa Tro, Shab Yerepa, the Chipachi. A Shar Ye Mo, Yung, Yang, Wu Carboji, Sa Tamboni, Dojet, and Biman Zimba, Papen Kolo, and Driven Zimba, Tamani, Purban Zimbas, Yom Doje Nyama Karmotan, Triva, Ye Yon is Turpa Tata. Sago Gango Jin, Ni Kumdo Karbo Jin,
So then we come to the second one, and so we are going here in a clockwise manner, so to the right. So then second, there is the white wrathful Namgyal. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. So here they are the same. Then his right face is blue, his left face is green, and his main face is white. His upper hands hold a vajra and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold a wheel and bell. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the mother Dorje, who is white in color. Again, to the right and left are 2 emanations. One has a tiger head and the other has a vulture head. They're both white in color.
Tate Yom the mother to Joti Kansa Yundua. As we can do the Yomari. Console. That's about the Lato Yobang. And Tina, Shar Sun Sato, Shab Yedeva. Shar Ye Gar, Yom Mar, Wu Godan Bas. 사당보니 도제당 배만쟁게 바바니게 매봉당 욕도도바 타마니게 불반전 바스 염 도제 데모 호자당 조와 예예용도 저바 야당 사로 근거지 니 금도 호나 드는
So actually, so Gabriela said we should translate it not mother but consort. And so then third, there is a dark blue wrathful. There's dark blue wrathful chukpa. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is dark blue. His upper hands hold a vajra and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold a fire mass and a club. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dojademo, who is light blue in color. To their right and left are 2 emanations. One has a yak head and the other has a raven head. They are both dark blue in color.
아 이바데 신제시 원보 샤선 사토 샤게데바 샤예가 요마 원보진 사당보니는 도제당 비만진제 바바니지 배종당 라다 타마니지 불반진바 염 두주망 모모당 조와 대예용도 저바 샤와당 우번고지 니 원보.
Then fourth is Yamantaka. So there is blue Yamantaka. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is blue. His upper hands hold a vajra and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold a club and an axe. His lower 2 hands hold the kilaya. He is in union with the consort Dujima, who is blue in color. To their right and left are 2 emanations. One has a deer head and the other has an owl head. They are both blue in color.
나바 초모요와 자나 샤선 사토 샤게진 예가 용목 부자나 사당보니나 도제당 동만 진제 바바니지 샤과당 보전 타마니지 풋반젠바 염도제 뜬콩마 야문처와 대예용도 주바 zei당 카등고니 고진이 금도 장.
And then fifth is the wrathful one, the dark green Miyowa. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is maroon, and his main face is dark green. His upper hands hold a vajram and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold a lasso and a razor knife. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dorjem Tunkungma, who is green in color. To the right and left are 2 emanations. One has a leopard head and the other has a crow head. They are both dark green in color.
와데 초 담전 마부 샤르섬 사토 샤비데바 야예가 용호 우마르와 사당보니지 도제당 동차 바바니나 야담당 투용진진 타마니지 풀반진바 염도제 또모 마자 주바 대예용도 주바 슬라당 부휴진고 진니 공도 마르보레노.
Then sixth, there is the wrathful one, red Hayagriva. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is blue, and his main face is red. His upper hands hold a vajra and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold a vajra cross and a skull mace. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dojetumo, who is light red in color. To their right and left are 2 emanations. One has a cat head, and the other has a hoopoe head, bird head. They are both red in color.
Demba de Tron de Beja was Kundo Martia Harson Sato Yab Yedeba, Yar Yeser, Yon Jang, Wu Martia Jin, Satan Boni, Doje Tang Bindan Zinje, Parmanina Jado Tang Dong, Parmanina Jajin Dong Tong Tang Raja, Tamani Purban Zemba, Yom Dojen Danyam, Martia Tang Jo, Yon De. 这把江歌党差应过的你工作马家进少。
Then seventh, there is the light red wrathful Dugyal. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is yellow, his left face is green, and his main face is light red. His upper hands hold a vajram and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold an iron spear and sword. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dorchetanyam, who is light red in color. To their right and left are 2 emanations. One has a wolf head and the other has a falcon head. They are both light red in color.
다다 가르라도 된바 랍차소.
Re.
다 제바 될 초 되든처와. 양서 야르솜 사도 샤비제바. 샤예 가 용마 우 양서 진. 사 당보니나 로제 당 동차. 바바니 지 라제 당 샤바. 타마니 지 퍼건진 겐. 염 도제 롱진 마당 조. 也用的只把生格当拍完跟过去，你更多将是人了。
The next is number 8. Eighth, there is the wrathful one, the yellow-green Amrita Kundali. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is yellow-green. His upper hands hold a vajram and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold a sword and lasso. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dorje Lungjingma, who is yellow-green in color. To the right and left are 2 emanations. One has a lion head and the other has a bat head. They are both yellow-green in color.
Gopa Tosma,
Takubatosam.
Gopa To Namjar, Sena Sharsum Sato, Shabye Deba, Shaye Gar Yoma, Wu Senajin, Sa Damboni, Doje Tan Tongchanzin, Barbanin, Data Tan Sharpa, Omani, Purbanzin Bas, Yom Doje Suzi, Sena Tanjor, Ye Yong the Trupa Tom Dan Semong Godi.
Then number 9. Ninth is the wrathful one, the dark yellow Kamsum Namgyal. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is dark yellow. His upper hands hold a vajram and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold an axe and lasso. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dorje Suzim, who is dark yellow in color. To their right and left are 2 emanations. One has a bear head and the other has a weasel head. They are both dark yellow in color.
That Jabba Tosma, Jabba the True Doboche, Mumbo Jarsum Sato, Shabye Deba, Jaye Gar Yom Mar, Mumbo Jin, Satambonin, Dorje, Bemar, Barbanin, Datan Yo, Tamani, Purbanzin, Yom Dorje, Juze Madan Jova, Yon Jabba, Jeda, Seven Gojin, Kondo Mumbos.
And then number 10. 10th is the wrathful one, blue Tobochi. He has 3 faces, 6 hands, and 4 legs. His right face is white, his left face is red, and his main face is blue. His upper hands hold a vajram and a skull cup filled with blood. His middle hands hold an arrow and bow. His lower 2 hands hold a kilaya. He is embraced by the consort Dorje Guzema, who is blue in color. To the right and left are 2 emanations. One has a grizzly bear head, and the other has a mouse head. They are both blue in color.
오 초고 주보 대다 탐제장 샤 당신 제와 제바 샤르레라야 말라던 베진 숨숨단 된바 도초지 제제제 젠바 도지 쇼바 남카 된와 염남 저번 진배 야블란 주바 염남 예 저번 진배 야블란 주바 염배 동마르 야블라 도바 야비용 야비 깨란 처리겐 예 장와 진 차로 야단다와 직바게 샨답진这辈 참미만 남자 다다다 찬답존 예용了찬답니니 요죠 또 탐제가 사예지 퍼거든신 용배 작전진 바스 샴닌도 답 가답 지난다 어떤데서는 요대 봐 근데 공도 요래서
And so then each of them, so all of these 10 deities, they have open mouths and fangs bared, and each their faces has 3 red round eyes. They are all adorned by the 8 channel ground ornaments. Their vajra wings are raised into the sky. All the mothers hold a bell in their right hands as they embrace the fathers, or the consorts. Their left hands serve a skull cup filled with blood to the male consort's lips. Their left legs embrace the male consort at the waist, and their right legs are extended. So these are the female consorts. Their ornamentation and attire is the same as the male consort. They wear leopard skin skirts. All the Traman emanations, so these are those 2 emanations to the right and left of each of the pairs. So each of these Traman emanations with the animal heads, they hold aloft kilayas in their right hands and have iron hooks in their left. They all dance with their 2 legs.
teni cheke te lagundo te kawando lagundo driptamna kawando lagundo driptamna mangbo yo mare tata jake ke te tawa sena ne chodan chuksum ba ke gondene so ye re ye zipjo la chopje ya yon sapsu ke ta te labde yo ta chowo nyerge na charson sa to cha ye dodi che ran na te la ta driptamna na sa po yo mare
So Shira, so inchitis. So I have to just find it in the English sadhana. So oh yeah. No, somebody was also maybe asking where in the sadhana this is, and actually where this is all explained in the sadhana. And actually, it's not really explained clearly at all. There is not much about this at all in the sadhana. In the Chinese sadhana, it would be on page 13, where it basically says, is maybe a 15 in the English. So it's in the 4 directions. Sorry, yeah, in English it's page 14. in the second paragraph where it says, in the four directions are the great kings and four families. So actually that's all it says in the sadhana about this.
Oh yeah, tate yaye ka nama ka nalo la re. Nama tela yang go ye yorwa. Go ye tela ta go wa ye gongo yore. Go wa yes. Go wa ye te ta xia slo la ma jo de yo. Tempo ma chama xia nang la ya zu bo le jo de yore. Xiar go la do je chomo bu xu jing go jin gong do gar mo. Sa gar mo sa ye xie we ngor po dang yong jia juan jin ba. Logo la do je chomo jia en go jin ser mo. Ye je be ser po dang yong xia guan jin ba. No go la do je chomo sin sen go jin mar mo. Ye wang ge san po dang yong jia zhong jin ba. San go la do je chomo cha en go jin yang ser. Ye zha bu jia po dang yong zhi wen jin ba. Da de ya ye ga na ma ge go ye la yo re go song jia.
And so then we go into the four inner gates of the immeasurable palace. So the four inner gates, they are the four female gatekeepers, which are here facing outward. So the previous ones that we mentioned were all facing inward toward the principal deity. So these are facing outward here. And then in the eastern gate is the white, wrathful Vajra goddess with a hoopoe bird head. Her right hand holds a silver pacifying kilaya, and her left holds an iron hook. At the southern gate is the yellow, wrathful Vajra goddess with a magpie bird head. Her right hand holds a gold increasing kilaya, and her left holds a lasso. At the western gate is the red, wrathful Vajra goddess with an owl head. Her right hand holds a copper magnetizing kilaya, and her left holds iron chains. At the northern gate is the yellow-green, wrathful Vajra goddess with a falcon head. Her right hand holds an iron wrathful kilaya, and her left holds a bell.
Da tongka nama ge sedang sima ge na di banqiam de na yo. Banqiam chakqiam ri la bien ba. Dana da pursong jun ni sen pu pa song ma jun ni yo. Yik som jun ni da lo re le sum re se de de sen pa chen men ro de sen pursong jun ni de dana chakqiam de na gong go re song do wa. Shonaman chi ye si tangbo shonaman chi ye ne jia je jiang mong go go la jie pe jia je pe mi jie ru ra pa jin tu you dang pu pa to pa dang se jian pa pa jie jie le xiong pe mi jie mo ra pa jin do jie dang jia jie to pa dang sang jie wang mo gang som le xiong pe mo mo man na jie ru ra pa jin ye do jie dang yong pu pa jin pa家家全部老兄弟，月不没家那，结果二八斤，也被新疆当，用被破半斤把那么当时，到底小那么去也是呢，等着人多。
And so then next are the 12 Kilaya protectors. And so we have mentioned before that in between, so the outer and the inner immeasurable palaces are, there's this kind of courtyard of blood where surrounding the 12 Kilaya protectors. So there's different levels to that yard, and it's probably the way that 3 protectors are on each, and so in total you have 12 Kilaya protectors. So they surround outside of the palace, and then next are the 4 Shravana sisters, So there is the naked, dreadlocked iron woman riding an iron female wolf with 9 heads. She holds a skull mace and a kilaya. There is the naked, dreadlocked woman riding a golden jackal with 8 tongues. She holds a vajra and iron hook. There is the naked, dreadlocked, dark red maiden riding a copper vixen with 3 legs. She holds a vajra and kilaya. And there is the naked, dreadlocked, dark green, turquoise woman riding an iron female dog. She holds a child's corpse skin and kilaya. So these are the 4 Shwana sisters, the first set of 4.
다 티지네 레마테 예스 요테 테타 칸솜로 숑페 레마테 콘도 만나 샤르체 사 예니나 멜롱단 드야 요니나 카담단 프반진바 샤와 요모라 숑바 샤와 요모라 숑페 레마츠 콘도 세나 샤르체 사니 마르즈 트르바진 예 베세 제소와던 용베 요요 공본진바 교랑 공부라 제베 레마 저 만나 샤제 사예 거라 레나 소신 사예 니 도제당 자교 요니나 벤다다 투탄진 나몽 가와라 슌베 레만 제 자나 자제 사니 거라 다나 소신 예 참신당 용 총제 적은진 바제 데라 레마 등치 예선 등의 리샤
So there's 3 groups of 4, right? So this was the first group of 4, and then the second group of 4 are the 4 Ramati sisters. Dark red Ramati is riding on a 3-legged mule. She has 1 face and 4 hands. Her right hands hold a mirror and a viper lasso. Her left hands hold a katvanga and kilaya. Dark yellow Remata is riding a doe. She has 1 face and 2 hands. She is wearing a peacock cloak. Her right hand holds a golden sickle, and her left hand holds a turquoise cup. Dark red Rematsu is riding a blue water ox. She has 1 face and 4 hands. She is wearing black felt. Her right hands hold a vajra and iron hook, and her left hands hold a skull cup and a skull cup filled with blood. Dark green Ramati is riding a camel. She has 1 face and 2 hands. She is wearing black silk. Her right hand is holding an execution board, and her left hand is holding weapon thread.
어디지니 다 세모 예스라테 도제 세진마 kumdo tena rapa jin ela purchong jin ba xiar je sa ni ye jiao jue da yong pu ban zi jin rou bu rapa jin ela purpe jin jin xiar je sa ni ye xia gua dan yong shi tun jin jin chu sen la xiong ba do je se zin ma ma mu xiar je sa ni wo la rapa dan ela purpe jin jin ye jia zhou dan yong pu ban jin ba lo ma le xiong 도제 파제 마샤직 사니 공도 장코 라파진 라파라 프페진 예 저거다 용 생단거 프랑지 초당 공부를选拔是 다든데서는 벌써 주니데 데 바창고 타참드나 요거레스 메파타나스 고레스.
Then the last set of 4 are the 4 Semo sisters. Dark bloom Dorjem Yajinma has dreadlocks ornamented with small kilayas. She has 1 face and 2 hands. Her right hand holds an iron hook, and her left hand holds a kilaya. She rides upon a dragon. Yellow Dorjem Dejinma has dreadlocks ornamented with small kilayas. She has 1 face and 2 hands. Her right hand holds a lasso, and her left hand holds a porcupine. She rides upon a crocodile. Red Dorjem Sejima has dreadlocks ornamented with small kilayas. She has 1 face and 2 hands. Her right hand holds iron chains, and her left hand holds a kilaya. She rides upon red lightning. Green Dorje Pakjima has dreadlocks ornamented with small kilayas. She has one face and two hands. Her right hand holds a bell, and her left hand holds an acacia wood kilaya. She rides upon a hippopotamus. So these are the 12 kilaya protectors, and as said before, they are in between within this courtyard of blood.
Ni yaya kan sima go yetela. Ta gosong tele genchin de yes in yongo yore. Yaya kan nama la te goa ye lap chapa yama. Genchin yes. Ta genchin ye de kare sena genchin ye de yang ka se jun go rida. Person juni te ka ya na la jo go wa. Xiar go la dong ge ji wo. Ka bu xiar ji sa ni. Ye xie zhe dang yo na xie pen jin jin sen ge ga mu la je ba sa. Logo la jia jie ji wo gong dong ho na xia jie sa ni ye bei jia jie ra zhe dang yong bei jia jie per wan jin jian jia jiang mo mo la qi ba sa. No go la se ji wo gong dong ma na xia jie sa ni ye bei sang jie zhen men ba wa sa yin yong bei sang jie per wan jin jie se da ma ro la qi ba. Sang go la da ge da da ge na bo gong dong jia na xia jie sa ni ye bei zhou dang yong bei bin dang jin jian 浙江我们了就把接受我是他的更新的一我是嘛个高上一的。
So these are the 4 gatekeepers on the at the inner gates, and next are 4 outer gates, which are guarded by which is called the 4 classes of Gingchens, and these Ging are facing outward. So before, the 12 protectors are facing inward, and so these Ging are facing outward. And so first at the eastern gateway is the white Dungigebo. He has one face and two hands. His right hand is holding a crystal knife, and his left is holding a crystal kilaya. He is riding upon a white female lion. At the southern gateway is the dark blue Chagigebo. He has one face and two hands. His right hand is holding an iron sword, and his left is holding an iron kilaya. He is riding upon a blue iron female jackal. At the western gateway is the dark red Seiyigibu. He has one face and two hands. His right hand is holding an iron knife blazing with fire, and his left is holding a copper kilaya. He is riding upon a red rhinoceros. At the northern gateway is dark green Daginakbo. He has one face and two hands. His right hand is holding a jigog knife, and his left is holding a skull cup. He is riding upon a blue jackal.
Oh yeah, that take a slow that yaya kan个 slow 等下突出节个难咯。这你巴罗的呢，他可是引导他往说么你去杂节是呢有的吧？那做南就得协助个搞这样抽个啦那往说么你去杂节是呢用个有的，这的呢，第二呢应该给你去杂节是呢有的啊。 我讲对嘛，军人生的有的，他的自己的这个难路的呢，有三个人，他变了年马了，我在那医生呢，他在那有啥？这个他们这些家的人演都没把啥透过马里的，演那样等着是呢的爷爷刚个时候当，都这个难路个第把枪的说了，他的自己的有三把什么把等着谁个有的。
And so then outside of the immeasurable palace and inside of the 8 channel grounds, so in between those two, the outer and the inner, there are next the 28 Ishvari goddesses, and you should say Girva.
Вам что, не запьери.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So there are the 28 Ishvari goddesses, and actually also in the context of the Shito practice, within the wrathful deities in the Shito, there also are those 28 Ishvari goddesses. So there are those, and then there also are the 21 Genians or the Upasakas, and then there are the 12 Dema goddesses protecting Tibet. And so you should think of all of these as being present, just like the light rays emerging from the sun, they emerge from the main deity. And of course, we cannot visualize each of them really clearly, but just have an awareness thinking that outside of the boundless palace and inside of the charnel ground, so in between those, there are all of these other deities or goddesses or gods.
다 퍼버 진고지 라차 참마데 드초리 디나 이요레 얘나 나랑 저거 다 냠네스 버갑서 때 참마 사 태고 말이와 얘나 다 진고 그 빨라 간드요레 가와요레 텔라 텐데 군도 산친 텐데 간드요레 때 하고고지 대양 가chen 보러 와서 몇 밤마 태블로
So these are the mandala deities of Vajrakilaya's mandala. And when we actually do the practice, of course, we cannot visualize all of them, but it's still important, very important that we understand, that we know what deities there are in Vajrakilaya's mandala and how they generally appear, their implements and ornaments and so forth. So it is important to know about these, but of course, when we actually are in practice, then we are not able to visualize them all, just have an awareness that they are all here.
다 뜻주되는 것도 접탑고 나로라 다다당에 랍데 파트 추참마 효로가 닌도와 티 땡알라 파게 쇼데 쭉송그 나한테난도 고비여 고마 동진여 징고 머린 고역도 제단 주파 가도지 다니 효는 sab다다 세자 동거 지우 총콜 용수도 버티스 효로가 니야모도 특강 정도와 다 대리 네트랑 랍데 바 참마
And so all of that that I've just mentioned to you in our sadhana is all contained in 2 verses only, which is in Tibetan 6 lines. So it's as before in Chinese, page number 13. In English, it's page number 15. On top, it says, at the 4 gates are the 4 wrathful animal-faced guardians, and around the mandala's periphery are the suns and emanations, together with their oath-bound attendants, the assemblies of Ramati sisters, Shravana goddesses, earth mistresses, and their brothers of rosewood, iron, and conch appear. Thus, the principal deity and retinue are fully generated. So all of that that was just mentioned is summarized in just these 2 paragraphs.
다 고소에 프로파게 진고 라자마 간전도 가완도 사부차소에 다들은 바제 떠나 마도 히에투사 마르고
So now is that clear to you? So is it clear now what deities there are in the Vajrakilaya mandala and how they appear and where they are and so on? Is all of that, is that clear? So for teachings of today, we're going to stop the teachings here.
저완도에
Are there any questions?
Yes, Ina, can I ask one?
Yes, please.
Just tell Lamala that I found the visualization mind-boggling. What can I do between now and next weekend to really comprehend and know all the deities in the visualization, because more than half of them, I don't know them by now.
Tini thering pe la mambo song song. Tini ko pe kan this goyam korsong. Tini da ngaso yang kia kachi pato tunda ji yorwa. Tini di gi pala tunda ji gi ringla. Tini di chama ha ko go re kwa konde yo. Tini di chama pache seka chama dok kang ha ko go mendok la seka cham. Tini da tunda jema parto di tate khana chi yore di khanda sa ko go re di chama lola khanda zong go re matsa ha ko go ra samla yo go ra sar madam na yang.
Tate tamar go to mo indo de go go mare. Ta tanka ka hiena yore. Tanka tenda la tajina la chobo jo tang ta ti chanda ni tang go song to cho tang chama jiga yore. Yena ta jekse na ngun jin to go mare ma do. Zo zo de mekpa zong sa zo zo de da zen perwa ke toka la wo ma po go go ka na lo la yi hi san ba. Ti toka la tengen zan san ba san zai je da zen la yin ba. Ta ti mekpa zong sa zo de re. Te gom to go yore. Ta la mekpa te tende si gom go yore. Zo yin de zo ta mekpa sa ma to na ya ke che ma re.
So of course you will not be able to know all of these deities right away, and also it's not really necessary actually for our practice. You can look at a tanka, an image of the deity. There are a few tankas that are quite clear where you have the deity and then the 10 wrathful ones with each of their 2 emanations, and then you have the gatekeepers. But still, you might not be able to identify who is who, which one is which. But in any case, actually, what's most important in terms of visualization for your practice is what you really should visualize is that at the heart of Vajrakilaya, within red light sphere, and there is inside of that is the wisdom being, and at the heart of the wisdom being is the samadhi being. As you mentioned before, there is those 3 beings that you visualize. So yourself at the heart and again at the heart. So that's the main visualization. And that's what you should really be able to sustain when you're meditating. But all of these other deities, of course, it's fine if you're not able to visualize all of them.
Okay, thank you, Lamala. Thank you, Ina.
Teni chwa yin ba da.
Something in the chat. It's in the chat. There's 2 questions here, I think. So the sadhana mentions the names of the 10 wrathful ones in Sanskrit, whereas Lamala was naming them in Tibetan Sanskrit. Can you do the correspondence between Sanskrit and Tibetan? Tanda di kaisana di yonten yanzen gyoshapat. Yeah.
Sanskrit nge ha go yo mare tata nge poke na na men de so lab yo ro zo zo de kom do san ji jin cha lo te so manda re wa te le te na ha go re wa.
Yeah, so because we are looking, this one text that he has is in Tibetan, and the sadhana is in Sanskrit. So because we were reading from the text that uses the Tibetan, it's still the same deities. So just go in the same order. Just look at the body color and the implements and the ornaments. And then you will, if you just go in that order, you will find the corresponding deity in the sadhana. Is there reciprocal benefit of practicing Vajrakilaya and Yamantaka in parallel, or any requirement that we have to practice both of them, it seems practicing one of them is already more than complicated. Dini tanda popa tang shinjin nyamdo tabo ta nyamdo sena bena nima chikina la tering temachik tunchik shinje tunchik popa tawo ta la niga nyamen sena dela chik pento yorves mixegi nuba tabo chendo yorves chembo yong yorves dini yana niga nyamen chik goye chi yorve guba chik duem dini kain sena chik boina pana popa chik boina dini pe mambo yorwa dini pe sem chik kan lagre be go thom do yorwa dini niga nyamen se gona ta delegang go thom do yorwa dini niga nyamen se go jumchen goya yorwe dini kana chi gore
다 니가 냠네 시든고 톰르고 도나 니가 냠네 세고 말에 던데선 고 톰키 냠네 시게 되게 빈도치아 용거요 말에 다 가히게 니가 냠네 세나테 빈도치아 용 틈니요 대소소 냠네 시니라 라레데 요레
So if it is really confusing for you to practice both of these deities, then it is not necessary. Because there's not so much benefit that comes from practicing with confusion. But there are some people who actually, for whom it is suitable and who can benefit from practicing both deities. So it really depends on the practitioner. Is the Vajra standing up or lying flat at the heart of the wisdom being? Tira yishe sempa tuka gi doje yorwa ti ya lang de yore yana ma nyar de yore.
도지 야 안데 야요 말에 야 랑데
So that Vajra is not lying, it's standing up. Standing up.
I have a question for the Vietnamese Sangha. So the question is, can you please explain why the emanations of Kilayas are in the form of animals, wild animals?
Die Zazu war Tramenden, so Ratamenden, so den von so Ula Gora Goti Sokcha Simchen war Dundore. Dundogi Gorim. Didn't Dundogi go in Big Gumzen Karina?
다도 라레라 로지르레 요지르 텐드 라드소다 마양 마레 마양 마양라 드니 인도 소차 돈로라 소파야 마양와 텐드가 라이케르와 드니 코란 솔라 데이터 그 조보 연구하라 드니 즉 로지 단잡정르레 당디 구바 준세르레 해줘 요저레 네 십차티 걸 하고미
So there probably is a story for each of them, for each of these deities, like why they have that animal head. But what they are is they're not, what that image shows us is that these are deities and not humans. So they're not humans, but they're also not some kind of other like creature, like an animal, for example. So they're neither human nor animal. So they're deities. And there sure is a reason and a story behind the appearance of each of these animal-headed emanations, but I don't know the details of those stories.
Pena data nga su hichoga kapsu hichoga la ta hiwa dong chuo mambo de chuo ngarang chuo ge che tok chuo mambo de yo ba de nen jo na din chung dong da wo zhe ge de wa de 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 wang song ni he za jie de da dang guo ni na ba na zuo ba jin ri wa de chuo de zhe ne tok chuo na ba na zuo ba jin chung dong de hichoga kapsu de he de ja ge yo ri wa
But for example, in the Shitro teachings, the teachings on the peaceful and wrathful deities, within the assembly of Shitro deities, there are many different deities. And what they all represent is our many thoughts. Just as there are many thoughts in our minds, there are many deities that appear. So it is this assemblage of thoughts which transforms into those deities. That's what they represent. And then also in this practice, for example, the 28 Ishvara goddesses or the gatekeepers and so on, the various different deities in this mandala also represent a thought in our mind, the various different thoughts in our mind. So this is how it is generally explained in the Shitro practice. Is there one? Oh, there's one more here. Is there any relationship between Mahabala and Mahakala? Tira chikti the inch this traboto chikti topoche Mahabala topoche rabantini Mahakala gomboro tini is Deva your west. There is no special relationship. It's just in English. The names sound kind of similar, but they're basically they're different deities. Then, are there any more questions?
There is one more Vietnamese, the question from the Vietnamese Sangha. She said she had listened to the teaching. However, she's not able to remember and visualize or imagine. So please, if you have any document like PDF or file that you written down, I would like to have it. So that's the question.
Ore te tata ngake tata chi trio te nyopo patron si topsona tani ragari tinan trio ne tere labjo to chop pat tu tinan trio yorba.
So actually, what I have explained today comes from a book that I have written, and the hope is that it will be printed very soon. And if we are able to print it soon, whenever we are able to print it, then it is available. And everything that I actually mentioned today comes from that book.
Taranti wanso mani hitsa je korte ne tata mala mema ti mang taksari samso. Ti tebna lo to chok main ta tani korang kondo san jin jin chalo to sutri te trio yor.
For example, the 28 Ishvari goddesses are also in that book, and I did not mention them today because I just thought it would be too much, but it's also all in that book, their names, their body color, their implements, their ornaments, and so on. It's all very clear in the book.
Tani tuandu.
And any other questions? Oh, wait a minute, there's one. There's one more here. So when you were discussing the tetrahedron, I have also heard before that all elements manifest at once, but our minds cannot apprehend it that way. So this is why we have to visualize the elements coming together separately. Can you say anything about this? Dering junjuk dini jungwa jigi tekdang so jik kerang soyin ba junjuk deni kuan tinda kosong ma jungwa shi den so rimba shin do gegi wa ma rim jungwa shi di pychig la nyam do lamsang gegi yori yina yang ngaran so stem di mig Tokyo mari sarta Tokyo marin dela tene teni rimba shindu tsegi yore yumtsen dela tene rimba shindu samsung song yora matsa chitangina chapchikto tapa chapchikto nyamdo yong yore chungwashi di kola kyang jis songonang
다 나서 다다 맥바스 고조테 셈 존다다 나랑 속에 다다제 타마로 따와제 요르와 뒷바캬데 바자야게 제도 던데세나 제람 당 맥바스 jote ngone sene ngarang to sem jong dar sibe yo kong bo kande yo men ti ko mari ngarang so sem la ta rama ma do wa sem la karu zo sa na so zo to ko ma do wa ta te so sem de la rama yo ba ji dang bu zo to go yo te rama yo ba ji zo be hyor te la ngarang so sem te ya da bu so la ya tri go yo te de da kwa la yin nam ba dan ya ye kan ti cha lo la so ba te gomne teni semlachi narancho karisana tesi to ya ndu kol jongda se yoro ya
so the reason why we visualize in stages is in order to train our minds. And that means that now we have this ordinary view in our mind. So these karmic tendencies, these imprints, have to be purified. And in order to purify them, we visualize the generation stage, the deity, and so on in stages. So actually, that's the purpose of all the visualizations, is to train the mind. It is not necessarily really exactly that way, that order, and so on. For example, the elements and so on. But the thing is that our mind right now lacks any autonomy or kind of self-control, which means that we cannot create whatever we conceive of in our minds. In order to be able to do that, we first have to gain control of our mind, freedom of mind. So first, to do that, we visualize in this way, and then also we are kind of as on the side, secondarily, we are also directing then our minds naturally. By doing that, we are directing the mind naturally into the pure direction. So that is why we visualize the pure deity and the immeasurable palace and so forth. It's in order to also bring the mind to a state of purity, because then once we have accomplished this autonomy of mind, control of mind, then we are able to bring up or to create anything that we can think of.
One last question. Can we get the book, Lama Last book, online?
Tanda di tap di taron pachin se yo mara ina yang pena tacha non la top ki re ra ge re.
jana la ma ba la nga juk sam go yo na tata te kyoda ya bo cha yo maro
So that's the plan. It's my plan to make it available online as well in the future. But right now, we are not done with the editing process yet.
Okay, thank you.
oh ya ta tanan sam ya tre
We stop
teni
here.
an me trewa una jima se
Oh.
se na chodo
Oh, yeah. So then let's stop for here. And if you have any more questions, we can do it next time.
다 된타 지마 그 잠조 지마라 가서 소반 소 프로한 소야 요르와 되니 디지는 가서 먼저는 로초 요르마
Just that next weekend, we actually hold the Vajrakilaya practice. So we will not have teachings next weekend. We will have our whole event. And then the following week after that, so 2 weeks from now, we continue with these teachings.
teaching you Mari Lamna Yang Rinpoche Kete Za Pimpa Shoka Rinpoche Prokola Katinang Riva. Tene Za Nima Shoka Layang. Tachayala Rinpoche Chuchu Sal Trina Chayi Yorite. Tenite Tatati GPI Lanzarum Yosari. Tenite Endu. Za Nima Shoka Tela Yang Ne Paru Jini. Chuchu Sal Tende Singaka Mahi Jutunda. Sige.
So actually next weekend when we have our Vajrakilaya retreat, there are actually some teachings. Garchen Rinpoche will give teachings on Vajrakilaya on Saturday in the morning. And on Sunday in the morning, we had originally planned for Rinpoche to also teach for about an hour, but then GBI in Arizona, they have a program going on at that time. So therefore, instead, Sunday morning, sometime in between on Sunday, I am going to teach for about an hour.
Okay. Oh, Tama, Momondo Guru.
So we do
Dedication.
dedications.
Sunandaya Tamje Zepani, Tone Nipe Dono Ponze, Jego Nanje Palong Tupaya, Seben Tolendo Adova, Lama Kongka Zawa Sovan, Joda Goze Renwa Sovan, Tele Tayin Jepa Sovan, Lama Tandrava Mipa Sinjilo. Yamba Pave Jadan Jamba Don Kunda Zambo Teyan Teviente Teta Kunje Jisa Talot Gewan the Datam Jada Sanje Kosan Yebesan Lata Junye Manja Dembesan Lat Ginde Mezen Dembesan Lat Jadang Yemulang Drapa Yo Konjo Sanje Bada Sanje Sanje Bada Sanje Sanje Lata Tony also the Bangan to Badan to Jan, no, but Dodgers and Jamaja, Dodgy, the Yan, Dodo Sinji, the Janu Dolana, me boy, on the bars of San Joram, Poja, Toba, George, Timber, Lame, Shabete. Tinze jiwe saten yong la ja, timbe jinda nga dang jo wa je, timba yong ren ne pe tra shi, yo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lamala. Thank you, Ina.
Thank you, Ina.
谢谢拉玛
Thank you, Lama.
Terima kasih.
Have a good day. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
什么是蓝色？